Well, good afternoon. I'm Brielle Batchelor with WALB News, and this is the Restaurant Roundup's Health Segment edition. And today I will be interviewing Dr. Francisco Diez-Gonzalez from the University of Georgia, and he's the director of the Center for Food Safety. And so I've brought him here today to discuss artificial food colorings in food and how we might be able to stay safe and not experience side effects that they may or may not cause. So if you would like to just go ahead and just introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, that's correct. My name is Francisco Diaz. I'm the director of the Center for Food Safety at the University of Georgia, and I am a researcher. I conduct normally research on microbial foodborne pathogens.
Okay, and so I'm just going to pull up this graphic. And so again, like I said, a bunch of organizations are trying to get away from using those synthetic colors. And to just name a few of those, it would be Red 3, and that was banned in 2025 by the Food and Drug Administration. Then we have Red 40, Yellow 5, and Blue 1. And again, some organizations are hoping to stop selling cereals or other goods with these synthetic colors in May. Just to get started with my questions, the first thing that I'd like to ask you is, what do synthetic food dyes like Red 40 or Yellow 5 do in food, and why are they used instead of natural colors?
Well, it's probably the main reason they're used is to make the food more attractive for the consumer. The appearance of the food is always being a reason for humans to consume a food. So colors are intended to use for that purpose. Now with synthetic dyes, they've been used for a long time. I guess they were approved many years ago, different of them, and they've been used in foods for different reasons. They provide the color that the consumer is looking for, and they are relatively low cost. They've been produced in less large amounts for decades, and it provides good functionality to foods in terms of, again, the main purpose is color. They don't serve any other reason to be present in foods.
And so, what would you say the strongest human evidence says about short and long term health effects, especially in kids? Have you seen that kids are experiencing, health effects due to these colors, or does evidence not prove that?
Well, there is literature that has indicated that there are some effects. Now, I want to just this give you the disclaimer that I'm not a toxicologist, so I am a food scientist, but I know something about this color. So uh,
Right.
they are definitely there is as we've been consuming this dyes, there's been growing evidence in the literature. There are some effects on different types of effects to potentially to health. There's been in in animal studies, several of the dyes have shown the possibility of causing cancer and tumors, but this has been proven mostly in animal studies. Has not been a direct link in any type of human cancer and those dyes. And that's one of the reasons that for many years they remain, despite the fact there were some animal studies that indicated they could be carcinogenic, they still remain available for the consumer and legally allowed. So that's one possibility for potential human health. The other effect that has been documented in some dyes and in some cases and some studies. And again, the literature has been a little bit on both sides. There are some studies that have shown effect, some studies that have shown no effect, even when it comes out with carcinogenicity. And that's what's been fairly it's been subjected to the whole debate whether we needed to ban them or not. So when it comes down to effect to children, the consensus for the most part, that several of them have caused hyperactivity. Now, one thing that is important to note is even that some you could start thinking about HDHD or effect on hyperactivity and disorders. There has not been any direct link, so sorry, to ADHD. But if it impacts hyperactivity, there is that possibility, but there is no proven. Other potential effect that has been possibly observed in some type of dyes is potential reactions, type of sensitivities or allergies. Again, this is just in a limited number of studies.
Yes, and I really appreciate you covering the possibility of behavior changes or ADHD. I was actually going to ask that. So it's nice that you were able to clarify that for myself and our viewers. And so what would you say are some brands or food products and food items that might contain these dyes? And where would you say people are surprised to find these dyes? Like what foods might you not normally think that dyes are in?
Well, they are all over the food supply. In many multi-ingredient foods, they're present there. And again, the main purpose is to make the food more attractive for the consumer. Multiple brands have carried those, and by now, many of those brands that have used them for multiple years, many of them are already pledging to phase them down either this year or by 2027 to completely eliminate from their formulation. That's something that is I think in our concern about the dyes, I think is really encouraging that the same food companies are the ones that are actually moving to eliminate all of this synthetic dyes. And regarding your question, what foods? Well, I think it, it's, yeah, you said it well. It's sometimes the consumer may be even surprised to find it because the obvious ones are the ones that have very bright colors. The red, the yellow, the candy is one of the ones that are traditional of being food categories with significant number of dyes used for that because of the it's gonna be an attractive color for children. So, but again, you will find it in almost every single food category of multi-ingredient foods. Obviously, in those foods that they are just involve a few ingredients, you're rarely going to find them. And of course, in fresh fruits, you're not going to find most of the time you're not going to find any of those dyes in their formulation.
Now, I know that there are alternatives, right? Consumers are able to go into different locations and purchase those foods without those dyes. And so, if someone wanted to switch to natural colors in those foods, are there any trade offs of the natural colors?
Well, the substitution. I gotta acknowledge is a challenge for industry because sometimes they're not gonna find the functionality those artificial dyes have. Another characteristic that sometimes is hard to find replacements from natural colors is the stability of the colors. One of the reasons why synthetic colors have been very successful is because it takes a very long time for the color to fade away. With natural colors, that's a frequent problem, depending on the type of dye that you're talking about. So and they are much more widely available right now. I think more and more formulations of new products are coming out with those new and natural colors. But yeah, it's there are more options out there, but yeah, industry is doing their best to try to replace them as much as it can. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, It did. Thank you. And just to close out this conversation, for a family that eats a typical American diet, what would you say are some realistic steps to reduce exposure to these chemicals this week that they can be taking right now? Some immediate steps.
Well, labels. That's the first step. That if anybody's concerned about avoiding food dyes today, is make sure that whatever product you're going to be buying from the supermarket, especially multi ingredient products, read the labels and make sure that you educate yourself with the typical names, and all of them in the U.S. are going to carry a number, red X or blue 1 or 2 or and red 40, etc. So that's the first thing, and of course the least formulated products, the least chances that you're going to have, and obviously you could easily tell, for example, if you're buying a cereal that is advertised with very bright colors. That's an obvious choice that you want to avoid. If you're a consumer trying to avoid those food dyes, I think you could easily spot those easily in that kind of products, candy and cereals and multiple other products. But reading the labels, that's the good place to start. And of course there may be some other categories of food products. I would say if you look on there, those that carry the organic foods label, the organic foods will tend to have mostly natural dyes. So that's another possibility that consumer could look for the organic symbol in products, and yeah, that will help them to minimize their consumption of synthetic dyes.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you laying out what consumers can do this week immediately to eliminate those synthetic colors. And thank you again so much for joining today and clarifying what these synthetic colors are and whether they have effects or not.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure talking to you, Brielle.
Thank you. Have a good one.